Well, hey guys, how's
Howdy.
it going? Thanks for joining us for these live stream reviews. We're going to get into, I think we got 7 or 8 different ones coming up. Before we get into that though, I just want to tell you something. You guys are going to be the first ones to know about this. We have a new free video training coming out. That's a 3-part video series that'll teach you the 5 simple techniques for consistent great sound. I mean, imagine showing up every Sunday confident that it's going to sound great. That's what these 5 techniques are going to get you. And you guys are the first ones to be able to have access into this free video series. Dylan, did you put a link in the description for that?
I did.
So there's a link in the description where you can jump right in. That first video is already available. So be sure you take advantage of that. All right, let's jump into these live stream reviews. This first one is from John. He's from Hillside Fellowship. He says this is an early setup. Overall, he just wants to know how it sounds and how it looks. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to show you how it looks because we're having a little bit of technical difficulties with our HDMI, whatever that thing's called. Dylan knows what all that stuff is. But it decided not to work. But you will be able to hear it. But Dylan can still comment on visuals. That way the person who submitted their live stream can have some tips there because you can see it over here on my computer. Yeah? All right, so here we go. All right, well, we have some incredible distortion going on there. And what that means is that somewhere in the signal chain leading from your mixer into the computer, you're hitting the red at some point. You're distorting the signal. So, I mean, that could be happening in a number of places. So I would just look at the different points in the signal chain and see where that is taking place. It could be on your mixer. Maybe if you're using a bus mix, look at your level meter for that bus mix. Make sure it's not hitting red and peaking. Could be happening on your audio interface, which is that little box. If you have it set up that way, a box that's connected between your mixer and the computer, there's some levels on there too. So you want to make sure you're not hitting red there. Look on your computer too. If you're using OBS, make sure you're not boosting the signal there. You need to go find out where it's hitting red and then adjust the levels, bring those levels down until you're not hitting the red anymore, because that's where all that distortion is coming from. So we need to get that fixed first before I can really give you some tips on how to make it sound better, because when it gets distorted, I just really don't have a good idea of how the mix is really sounding there. So go get that fixed, resubmit your live stream, and then we can go from there. And if you run into any problems trying to find out where you're redlining, just let us know in the Inner Circle Slack chat, and we'll help you figure that out.
You keep going with audio, and I'm going to download some photos, screen grabs.
Okay, and then we'll come back to that.
We'll come back to visuals.
Okay, sounds good. Let me check the comments here. Thanks, everybody, for jumping in. Good to see you, Christian and Wes and Nigel. Thank you all for being here today. Yeah, let us know where you're tuning in from. I see Sacramento, California here. A couple of people from California. We're in the Tulsa, Oklahoma area, and it got real cold here all of a sudden. I don't know what happened, but we were in the 20s this morning, which was shocking because I think last week about this time we were in the 80s. Anyway, fall showed up. All right, let's go on to the next one. And if you guys have tips while you're listening to these, drop them in the comments. Let's be constructive in our feedback. All right, next up is from Jordan, and he's from Cranbrook Alliance Church. We resorted to a post-fader mix instead of the pre-fader mix. We had good success with it this week. Our video production is a little weak. We don't have presenter titles or anything. So they're looking for suggestions on stage design and lighting that can help them out. They're using the M32, Pro Presenter 7, ATEM Mini Extreme. Let's take a listen to see how this post-fader mix turned out. I agree, man. It sounds good for your first go to pre-fade or post-fader mix. Very good job. All right, couple things on the lead vocal is a little bit loud. Well, first of all, let me comment on how you have your vocals EQ'd. Really good. They're nice and clean and clear, and I love it. So great job with that. I just noticed the lead vocal is a little loud compared to the rest of the mix, so I just bring her down a little bit. And now I'm going to switch my headphones because I have them on backwards again. So
Come on now.
I can hear that you have your background vocal there panned to the left, which is good because that's how I see her when I have my headphones on correctly. But you have it panned a little bit too hard. It almost sounds like you have her panned 100% to the left. That's usually, I never find myself panning 100% or really even anything over 50%, like to the left or to the right. So I would bring that vocal back towards the center. Maybe put her at like 30% to the left instead of 100%. And I hear some pretty big panning going on with your guitars and stuff too, which creates some nice stereo imaging. It's just a little bit too wide. So make sure you're not panning past 50%. And so bring all that a little bit more towards the center so it sounds a little more focused. We're going to go back here to a full band. The only other thing I hear in there is that the low end is a little bit weak, so I'd bring up the bass guitar and the kick drum to help fill in that low end energy. Really though, great job. Great job. Thanks for sending that in. All right, let's take a look and see if we got any comments going on here. We got somebody here from India. That's awesome. Thanks for being with us. Let's see. Feeling the cold over here. Pennsylvania. Very tough to do post-fader drums, so perhaps do those pre-faders, what Larry said. I can see your point, especially with acoustic drums, because in the room you have that acoustical energy, so you don't need it to be as loud in the room as you would in the live stream. However, you can usually make a post-fader, depending on the room. Their room looks pretty big though, so still should be able to make a post-fader mix work. You're just going to have to boost those drums in the live stream compared to what's going on in the room. Is there a reason you're not showing us the video? Yes, there's a reason we're not showing you the video this time. We are having technical difficulties with the screen capture from my computer going to the live stream computer today, so we're only able to do audio. So sorry about that. Dylan is grabbing some screen grabs over there. We're going to come back through these and talk about the visuals. Mark asks, is panning on your background vocals a good idea? I've never considered that for vocals. If they were going to stay background vocals, I wouldn't mind panning them. Something that we'd run into a problem at my church is the lead vocal changes from song to song. Nobody necessarily stays the background vocal. So you'd have to make sure that if they're a background vocal on one song and they're panned, that when they become lead vocal, they go center again. So for that reason, at our church, we keep everything center just to make sure that we don't run into a problem there. But hey, if you want to pan your background vocals and they stay background vocals and you're going to pay attention to make sure if they become lead vocal, you put them back in the center, go for it. Alrighty. Let's go on to the next one. This one is from Jeremiah. He's from Calvary, Prescott. Audio sounds awful all the time. Well, hopefully we can help you out with that today. So mainly he just wants some help on the sound. He's using the Allen & Heath SQ7. All right, here we go. I think you're a little too hard on yourself, man. I wouldn't give that an awful grading. I mean, there's definitely room for improvement, but don't be so hard on yourself. So the main thing that I noticed here is that I had to boost the level way up on my mixer to hear it. So we need to get that level up. And one way that you do that is making sure that you have compression on all of your channels, which you might have that already. Then you also add compression on your live stream bus. And then you also add a limiter on your live stream bus. And I talked through all those things on my free course called Live Stream Mix Made Simple. We have a link in the description to that course, and you can also find it at collaborateworship.com. So it'll walk you through all those things. That way you can get more level out of your live stream mix without peaking and hitting the red. So that's something that you'll want to focus on next. But the other thing that I noticed is there's just not a whole lot of energy in the mix. I heard the kick drum. You're filling up those super low frequencies, and there's a lot of clarity going on here in the high frequencies, but this whole middle frequency spectrum is missing in your mix, and that usually comes from the keyboards and the guitars and sometimes like backing tracks and things like that. So I would bring those things up in the mix to try to fill in that space. And also I didn't hear any sort of ambience. I didn't hear any sort of reverb in your mix. So I would work on adding that too, because that'll bring a lot of life to your mix. Yeah. So you can use the same reverb that you're using in your room. I know how to do that on the X32, not quite sure how to do that on the SQ7, but if you reach out to me, I can help you walk through that if you're not sure how to get that reverb into your live stream mix. Usually you just put your effects returns into the live stream bus. But again, reach out to me in the Inner Circle chat and I can help you work through the details of that. So there you go. Get your levels up by using compression and a limiter. Add some reverb and ambient mics if you can, and also bring in those instruments to fill in that lower mid frequency spectrum. Thanks for sending that in. Let's see what the comments here. Yeah, you could always have scenes if your vocalists jump around with who is leading. That's a great thought, Brandon. Thanks for sending that in. Yeah, consider reverb on vocals. Totally agree, Larry. Yeah, like I said, Nigel agrees. That's definitely not awful. I was expecting much worse. So, yeah, you have a great thing going. Just keep on improving. You'll get it where you want it to go. All right, next up we have Christchurch. This is Robert sent this in. He's looking to get the balance right between the vocals and the instruments, applying reverb to vocals and instruments, mixing in the crowd microphones. He only has one, only behind the PA, reducing feedback from the lectern microphone. All right, awesome. We'll take a listen and comment on those things.
Praise Him, you heavens and all that's above. Praise Him, you angels and heavenly hosts. Let the whole earth praise Him. Praise Him, the sun, moon, and bright shining stars. Praise Him, you heavens and waters and skies. Let the whole earth praise Him. Great in power, great in glory, great in mercy.
Thanks for sending this in, man. One thing I want to comment on is the acoustic guitar. You have him mixed as the lead instrument, and I can understand why you would want to keep him there. But his acoustic isn't very pleasant as far as the sound that it's giving you. This has nothing to do with how you're mixing. It has everything to do with what he's given you to mix with. We talk about this quite often. Acoustic guitars, even the more expensive acoustic guitars, don't really come with the best pickup on the inside of them, which the pickup is the microphone that's inside of the guitar that's giving you the sound that it's giving you. It's worth it to install a new pickup in acoustic guitars. The one that Dylan recommends, because he's an acoustic player, is the LR Baggs. Anthem. LR. Did I get that right? LR Baggs Anthem. And how much is that again?
$300 for the full size, $200 for the smaller one.
Okay, and then you have to go to a luthier, I think is what luthier, and they'll install that in your acoustic guitar for you for another couple $100. So I mean, it is an investment, but you're going to notice a huge difference. It's going to be a huge difference.
We're thinking about making a video about the new LR Baggs Hi-Fi pickup. Kind of a similar sound to the Anthem. It's only $200 instead of $300. And you don't need a luthier to install it. You can do it yourself. And if you don't want to be invasive on your guitar, like do any drilling or anything, you don't have to. It's very non-invasive.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah. So we'll try to get that out soon.
Totally worth it though, especially when your acoustic player is your lead instrument. You want that to sound as good as you can. So that's going to make a huge difference in your mix. And then also in your drums, I noticed that they sounded very distant. And yet I see microphones all over those drums. I see overhead microphones. I see one pointed at that tom. So I assume you also have one on your snare drum and you have one on your kick drum. So work on that drum mix and getting those drum mics dialed in. If you go to collaborateworship.com and search for drums, I have several videos there that'll help you dial in your drum mix. That's going to make a huge difference because right now it kind of sounds like they're like in another room somewhere, and you want to like bring those to the front of the mix so there's more energy there.
Great things I am, King over all the earth.
Yep, I would start there. Fix your acoustic guitar, fix the drums. It's going to take your mix to the next level. All right. Let's see. Make sure to mute everything else when the lectern is live. Yeah, because you were talking about having feedback problems on your lectern. 100%. Thanks, Larry. Could use some low end. That crowd mic may be a little too loud. It sounds like it's picking up the sound from the house a little too much. Yeah, I'd agree with that. There was some nice ambience going on, but maybe it was a little bit too loud. What is the best YouTube live stream audio routing? We are running a single console with left and right stereo bus for live stream to Focusrite, and then a USB from the Focusrite to a streaming laptop. There's multiple ways to do that. That's how we do it at our church too. So if it's working for you, it's working for you. Now, most mixers have a USB audio interface of their own these days. You could use that if you want to. Just as long as you're getting great audio, Focusrite gives you nice, clean audio. So if it's working, I would just keep it set up that way.
For sure.
All right, carrying on. This next one is from John from Hillside Fellowship. This is a new system and looking for some advice. It's always exciting to have a new system.
No doubt.
All right, so let's listen to this one.
King of glory, coming on the clouds with fire, the whole earth shakes, the whole earth shakes. I see His love and mercy washing over all our sin. The people sing, the people sing. Hosanna, Hosanna, Hosanna in the highest.
So I'm really grateful to hear some reverb on this one. It is a little bit too much, though. I'd bring that reverb down a little bit. The ambience from the reverb is kind of trying to take over the mix, so a little bit less on that.
I see a generation.
We're missing some low end on this mix, too. I would check your low cut filter because I'm not hearing any sub frequencies at all. Like I'm not hearing anything really under 300 hertz maybe. So especially on your bass guitar, go check your low cut. Just take your low cut filter off the bass guitar and the kick drum. Start there. Make sure there's not a low cut filter on your live stream bus because that would just be taking all the low end out of your live stream. That could be the problem. And also on your streaming software, make sure you don't have a low cut filter on that as well. That way we can beef up that low end. That's something that a lot of people don't notice because you're only going to hear that low end whenever you're listening on a nice pair of headphones or maybe on a nice sound bar or something like that at home. A lot of people are listening to live streams on their phone is a reality, so they're not going to notice if the low end is there or not. But nevertheless, I think that we should put it in there just to make sure that those who have nice audio equipment at home are getting the full spectrum of audio. So go figure out where that low end, why is it missing? Somewhere there's a low cut filter somewhere where it shouldn't be. And I'm also just kind of hearing an imbalance of EQ in general. I would be interested to see if you have EQ filters on your live stream bus, what that looks like. I'd actually be interested to see what your EQ filters look like just in general. So did you say you were using the X32? Let me see. Yes, you're using the X32. What I want you to do is I want you to save a scene to a flash drive and send the .scn file to me in the Inner Circle chat. And then I'll take a look at all of your EQs and see what's going on there and how we can resolve those problems. That's a little bit too detailed to get in on something like this, but I'd be happy to help you work through those issues. Alrighty. Got anything to add, Dylan?
No, but I was reading some comments a second ago. Saw something. So what did they say? Oh yeah, the LR Bag session pedal. I do want to try out some of LR Bag's pedals too. I think it'd be a great way to elevate acoustic guitar, just even beyond what you can do on the mixer, just because it has effects and compression and stuff that's made for an acoustic guitar. So I'd be really interested to see how that helps an acoustic. And then someone else said they liked their Lyric, LR Bag's Lyric pickup. And as far as I understand, that's pretty similar to the Anthem in the way that the Anthem has a true mic pickup that's really similar to the mic that the Lyric is. And then you just also have a piezo pickup to go with it that you can blend between the two. So technically, if you have the full-size Anthem, you could just go full mic and it would be really close to what the Lyric does. But I think the Anthem is better than the Lyric for a live scenario because you have that flexibility of piezo and microphone. So if you have a really loud environment and you can't use as much of that microphone, you can go more towards the piezo. And I think you just get a little more full of a sound to work with because that piezo gives you more low end and that microphone gives you more of the crisp high end that the piezo kind of sucks at. So it's a good compromise in between.
I feel like we've become acoustic guitar snobs.
Probably.
I think that's what this pickup will do to you. You'll be like, why did we ever try to mix the other pickups?
Yeah, probably so.
It's like night and day difference.
For the guy that said he has the Lyric pickup, I'm curious, do you ever have any feedback issues? Let us know in the comments there. I'm curious to know.
All right, we have one more here, and this is from Don with Woodside. We've been working on our mix, reverb and drum blend. Just general feedback is what they're looking for. So here we go. Do I have the right one here? Nope.
Come on, get it right.
Well, I didn't load these up. Dylan loaded these up.
Oh, are you on a...
Oh, you know what?
That's a resubmit, isn't it?
The one we just listened to, I got that one wrong. That was Woodside Church. So now we need to go back to Hillside Fellowship. Did we listen to that one? Oh, yeah. I see what you did.
Yeah, there's two of them.
There's two of them. Okay. Sorry for the confusion. That one we just listened to was from Don with Woodside. And now we're going to one from Nancy with Living Word Church. How do we create a better balance on our live stream using an iPad mixer? And how do we prevent from sounding dry on the live stream? And they are using the Behringer Wing. All right. Love the wing. All right, let's take a listen. I think that the drum mix has sounded pretty good, so good job on that. I'm curious to know if you're using acoustic drums or electronic drums. Let me look here. I don't see the drummer in the shot, so not sure about that. But the drums are sounding good. But once again, we have an acoustic guitar problem that's kind of ruining the mix.
Your family, your children, their children.
And now you hear that peaking distortion. I didn't hear it earlier, but it's mainly on that vocal mic there. So you want to check her gain, make sure that she's not we're hitting red somewhere. You should never be hitting red on your mixer. You should look at all those beautiful level meters that are bouncing up and down. And if you ever see red, that should trigger you like, oh, need to go make an adjustment, need to turn the gain down until we're just crawling over the point where the green lights meet the yellow lights. So yeah, make sure you're not hitting that red anywhere along the line. It could be on your live stream bus. It could be in your, just look everywhere. Look at the level meters everywhere and figure out what's causing the problem there. So yes, same thing on the acoustic guitar. This acoustic sounds very like chorusy. How else would you describe that, Dylan? Now I hear the vocals kind of jumping in and out of the mix too. They're kind of like getting loud and then they're soft and they're getting loud. Compression will fix that. So go through on all your channels and add some compression to those. That'll also help you figure out wherever you're redlining somewhere. It'll help you get more volume out of your live stream without peaking. I have a video that walks you through everything you need to know about compression. So if you just go to collaborateworship.com, free content, search for compression, there's videos there that'll walk you through all the compressor settings and how to use them. That's going to make a huge difference in the control of your mix, because what a compressor does is it limits the dynamic range. It takes it from like being like this, from the quiet moment to the loud moment, and brings it down like this. So there's still dynamic range. It still gets, there's still life to the mix, but just it doesn't jump in and out like it was then. Might need to teach the vocalists some mic technique there too, so that they always hold the mic no more than an inch from their mouth. But yeah, so compression, figure out where you're redlining. Same acoustic guitar tips as before. Invest in a better pickup. It's going to make a huge difference on your mix.
He is with you. He is with you in the morning and the evening.
Yeah, let's start there. And then resubmit once you get those things worked out. We'll help you go from there. Thanks for sending that in. That's all of them, Dylan. Anything else you wanted to go over?
No, but I did get some thumbnails pulled up.
So we'll comment on visuals real quick. We're having a problem with in case you didn't hear earlier, getting the screen grab from my computer to his. That's why we haven't been showing you the visuals, but he took some screenshots of them, so he'll pull them up now and then make some comments.
That was a lot more difficult than it needed to be too, by the way.
I'm sure it was.
All right, so here was the first one.
From John with Hillside.
Correct. So off the bat, it looks a little overexposed and a little cool. So I would warm it up a little bit and drop exposure just like one notch. It's just barely overexposed. And it almost looks like there's this hazy effect to it. And I can't tell if that's because of the camera just not being that great or if the lens is dirty. So check on cleaning the lens just to be safe. It's always good to check that every now and then anyway. And then also those lyrics are a little distracting up in the corner. So I would recommend that you get those kind of superimposed onto the footage. If you're using OBS or something, it's pretty easy to do. You can reach out to me and I can help you out with that or whatever software you have. I think that was their only angle on that one. I obviously only grabbed one screen grab from each church because that would have taken me forever to do every camera angle they have. So we're just kind of reviewing the wide shots. If you guys have any more questions, message me on Slack about other angles and I can help you out. But let's go on to the next one. Hopefully this will work here. Okay, so this next one, I think it looks great. I love that you have those curtain lights. We have something really similar to add a little bit of dimension to the stage. I like that it looks a little bit warm, but it looks like it was intentional and it's like warm in a good way. I think it kind of matches the environment. So the white balance I think looks great. And if I remember correctly, I think each shot, like the white balance consistency was good from shot to shot. It does look a tiny bit overexposed, so I would drop that a little bit. And then maybe drop your framing down to where that sliver of projector screen material isn't in the shot up above. I think it just kind of looks out of place. And zoom in a tiny bit more if you can. You don't want the people on each edge of the stage to be too close. So just zoom in a tiny bit, drop the framing down. You can just pan down a little bit, or you can, I wouldn't recommend dropping your tripod down. I just pan down because then people's heads might be too much of the shot at that point. Other than those few things, looks great. Let's move on to the next. First thing I notice off the bat here is that I think your background TVs are a little bit bright. just a teensy bit. And then it looks like that top right one, the brightness is different than the rest. So I would work on dropping the brightness of all of those a bit, and then see if that top right one is mismatching. And then same thing here, I would pan down a little bit to get what's going on up there in the ceiling out of the shot. I don't think you need all of that. I would rather see more congregation than ceiling. And then it looks, maybe the whole shot's just a little bit overexposed, just a tiny bit. So just drop your exposure a little bit. Trying to think. Other than that, I think it looks pretty good. I can't remember if they had other angles or not. Again, sorry for the feed not working. It's kind of annoying. Okay, let's move on to the next one. This was one of their wide shots. Overall, I think this is a PTZ camera. If that's the case, it looks pretty good for that. I would add a little bit more saturation if you can. I think it looks a little dull. And then your exposure is just a little bit too high. So drop that down 1 notch probably. And you might even be able to warm it up a little bit. I think with all of the warm tones you have going on, warming it up probably wouldn't hurt. Just like 100 or 200 Kelvin, if you have that option on the camera to go by Kelvin. And then I think you could zoom in on this specific shot a little bit more. And then again, I think you had other camera angles, so whatever you do to this camera, make sure you match that on all the other ones. But great job there. Let's go to the next one. Sorry, I'm forgetting to name all these churches off. So this one is Woodside. The last one was Christ Church. So Woodside, I love the background you have going on. I think it looks really cool. And I remember seeing from shot to shot, it added like a different kind of look to each shot just because the wall has so much variation going on. I think that's really cool. You can see in the skin tones, we're a little bit overexposed. So drop that exposure down a little bit. I would also warm it up a tiny bit. It looks a little cool. And then it also looks a little bit magenta. So dial in your white balance a little bit, warm it up, move your tint a little towards the green. But it might even itself out when you warm it up, because typically when you go warmer or cooler, it's going to automatically make your tint look different. So you always have to kind of like play between the two. It's a dance between tint and what's the name of warmth and coolness? I can't remember the name of it now. Anyway, looks great. Drop exposure, warm up a little bit. And then in this one, I think you also have a little bit too much headroom going on, so I would drop it down to, you don't want their heads at the very top of the frame, but maybe like half as much headroom as you have going on right now would probably be good. Also the lyrics, I think could use a drop shadow or a stroke behind them so that you can see them a little bit better. Probably just like a black stroke would look good. Or you could put it on a banner of some sort. Also, it might correct itself when you drop your exposure. So try that first. See if you can read them a little bit better. And if not, add a drop shadow or a stroke just to help them stand out a little bit more. Okay, let's go on to the next one. I'm looking at the white balance and it's really close. Something just looks a teensy bit off about it. I think it might just be that your saturation is a little low. I think it just looks a little dull, especially with all those nice wood tones you have going on. So I would increase your saturation a little bit, get a little more vibrance in the shot. Again, let's drop it down, get a little less headroom in this one. There's just a little too much wall going on. And maybe, yeah, I just said warm it up. Didn't I? Did I say warm it up? No, that's your saturation. Warm it up a little bit. I would also make your lyrics a little bit bigger. I think that's a little small and comparative to the shot. Looks like they have a drop shadow on theirs. You can kind of see what I was talking about with that last one, how it makes it stand out a little bit more. But yeah, those few things, and I think you got a good shot going on. Great job, everybody.
Now I notice a common thread there is, seems like people want to center their focal point vertically in the frame. Is that the best option, or should we be looking for something else?
I don't think there's any like solve all solution to it. It just kind of depends on what your room looks like.
Talk a little bit about the like rule of thirds.
Yeah, rule of thirds, which most cameras have on the screen by default, is those lines. You have like 2 vertical and 2 horizontal. And that just kind of gives you a guideline for where you want to place things in your shot. Usually, like, let's say you have one person in the shot. Like right now, I'm on one of the rule of thirds, and Cade, he's a little far over, but he should be on the other rule of thirds. And then our heads are a little bit above, like, where they intersect. It'd probably be like down here somewhere. I'm not a big fan of putting the head right on the intersection. I think that's kind of low in the shot, unless it's a wide angle maybe. So I go a little bit above that intersection. As you can see, let's pretend it's right here. Cade's probably a little bit closer to where it would be. You can go off of that if you think it looks good to put someone's head on the intersection. I think that's a little too much headroom, especially for a shot like this, because then there'd be like twice as much headroom as we have right now. You just want enough headroom that it doesn't look like this, and you don't want it to look like that. A nice in between. Enough breathing room, I guess you could say.
I like how I look taller than you today, because Dylan's actually like 3 or 4 inches taller than me.
There you
go. Well, sweet, y'all. Thanks for sending all these in. It's always a pleasure to help you guys improve your live stream. And just know that we're all improving our live streams as the weeks go by. And I think there will always be room for improvement. So don't take any of this advice as us putting you down, or I don't ever want you to walk away feeling like you can't do this, because you can. Just take things one at a time, though. And don't compare your like beginning journey to somebody's end journey. And don't compare your small church to somebody's huge church down the street. Just don't get caught in the comparison trap. Just focus on getting better than yourself last week. Are we doing better this week than we were last week? And if you're doing that, then you're winning. And also, like I said at the beginning of the broadcast, I want to let you know you guys are the first ones that we're inviting to a new video series that we just launched. It's called 5 Simple Ways for Consistent Great Sound. I mean, imagine showing up every Sunday confident that it's going to sound great. That's what this video series is all about. And it's a free video series, 3 parts. The first part is already available, and how you access that is using the link in the description. Again, it's free, so go grab access to that and go learn you something new. I think you'll really love it. Got anything else to say about that?
Nope.
All right. Well, we will leave you with that. Thanks so much for being with us. We'll do this again soon. And if you would like your live stream reviewed, just become a part of our inner circle. You can do that using a link in the description as well. And yeah, till next time. See you later.